I had to hold myself together when you said that because I was like, whoa.
God.
I mean, it's normal for me when I'm talking hockey for people to like literally tell me off. It happens almost daily now. So,
and plus, I tell them to fuck off every once in a while for something or other.
As you should.
Yep.
I would be surprised if you didn't, Heidi.
No, I totally do.
That's good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
Stop! He's already.
What was that?
He's already
Sorry, before we actually start, I gotta grab one thing.
So, is anyone having some mimosas for mittens, or are we all on beer?
All on beer.
All on beer.
I am not drinking mittens beer, though. I'm not drinking the Noble Pilsner. Unfortunately. Should have.
That's a waste.
Saving that for my my end of year shotgun.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have to do that. Like you think about it, we've had shotgun Jakes and all the quarantine shotguns that we've done over this year. Yeah. Might as well send 2020 off with a shotgun.
Last little fuck you to 2020.
Right.
Yeah. We'll be starting soon.
Yep, almost. Sean's just slow at getting the tweet out.
A little bit slower with all being liquored up.
It's New Year's.
I'm not.
And it's New Year's, and I'm telling our federal doctor to fuck off for telling me that to not drink booze.
Don't think I'm following with that one, but I'll leave that alone.
Dr. Teresa Tam said that we should be looking at non-alcoholic things to celebrate New Year's with. She's telling us to get high.
Oh.
Well, if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was 5 episodes ago. I said, smoke whatever you want. I think that was the last episode that Tyler and I were on together. By the way, where is the rest of our people?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, well, I think Chris is probably still out delivering booze. So he's not helping out with Dr. Teresa Tam's attempt to keep us sober.
Nope.
So, all right, let's go.
We are live. Happy New Year. This was, well, we'll get into this. It was a game we were all looking forward to as Canada finishes off. That was funny. 2020 with a 4-1 victory over Finland. We will recap that game. Welcome to the Hockey Podcast. You can, of course, follow us on Twitter at podcast_hockey. Subscribe on YouTube where you're watching on YouTube Live. Subscribe on Facebook. Like us on Facebook as well, the Hockey Podcast. And subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Hello, Sean. Happy New Year.
Hello, Kevin, and Happy New Year to you, too.
Good to see you. And hello, Devin. How are you?
Oh, doing all right. And Gord, my dog, isn't doing the best, but that's okay. She's I don't know, she ate something, and so as I was saying to Sean, she's peeing out of her butthole today, which is a lot of fun for me because I have to pick it all up. So I've been dealing with that. Good visual for everybody listening. I've been dealing with that for the entire day, so it's been quite a not the New Year's that I was wanting, and not the game I was hoping to see either.
Yes, we'll get into that. But first, I'm going to do something. Very rare that I do this, but I'm going to do this for this. There we go.
Had a B. What beer of choice you got there?
It is Guardian IPA from Strange Fellows.
Ooh, nice.
There we go.
This is a good brewery out in Vancouver.
Yeah. There we go. So before I have all the time to compliment Canada for this effort, but I want to start by talking about Finland. I didn't say this to you guys. I was going to start this way, but if I was a Finnish hockey fan today, and I woke up at 1:30 in the morning to watch this game, boy, would I be pissed at this effort. You had one shot. Maybe they had a couple more shots, but I think at least that I'm certain I heard Levi say the save a couple times, but whatever. One shot after the first period. You didn't really get going and get any shots until a power play in the third period in a game that was a 3-0 matchup. Had an opportunity to face the Czechs, and the effort tonight from Finland was atrocious. And it made this really hard to watch. Maybe it was Canada was much superior to Finland, and I think that's easy for us to say. But there was such a lack of effort from Finland tonight. It was really hard to watch that from that perspective.
Yeah, Finland. I've watched the majority of their games. This is not how they normally play. I feel like it was a drop ball from the coaching staff, just not having them ready to play. Arguably the best team in this tournament, and it showed on the ice. The end result of 20 shots on Canada, that just doesn't have the same. He's seen the shots on net in comparison to each other. It doesn't hold justice to how bad the Finns played. And like the one goal that they did have was a deflection off a defenseman and in. So I don't know. I'm very disappointed because I wanted to see the Leafs prospects thrive, but the entire Finnish team just came out flat, and I don't think that Canada is that superior to the Finns. But God, tonight Canada just completely and utterly dominated them.
Yeah, Finland let Canada dictate how the game was going to be played, and allowed Canada's defense and their forecheck to really dominate the game. The forecheck was an absolute clinic, and the defense pinching in on the point, off the point, and disrupting any sort of breakout the Finns had was great. Was fantastic. Andre Tournier should be very pleased with how Canada played. I get what you and Kevin are saying there, Dev, in terms of the effort from Finland, but I think we have to understand that there was a lot of dictating of play that Canada just was able to do. And when you're stuck on your back heels like that, it's so hard to look like you're giving a shit and you're trying. But I could see it. It was there, but it just wasn't enough. And I do agree with the fact that I think it was a bit of a misstep on the coaching to not have them up and running and getting into Canada's face right from the first face-off. Like, the Finns have always been known when they're on their game to be pesky and in your face and finding ways to just not go away. They went away. They went away early tonight, and it was that everyone knew that this game was going to end with a Canada W after like 5 minutes of the first period.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that is the frustrating part, but let's kind of, let's focus on Canada. Where do we start? Where do you want to start? Tonight, the two big stars were Cousins and Krebs. Do we want to start there? Let's start there. Cousins, 2 goals, got the first goal and the empty net goal, which was a hell of an effort to get that. I'm just telling you, Buffalo now, that C that he was wearing today, he's going to wear it in Buffalo at some point in time. The guy has some leadership skills. I think at some point in time in Buffalo, I'm not saying he's going in there to wearing the C, but during his career in Buffalo, he will become a captain. He's got that kind of ability for sure. But those two were the two dominant forwards tonight for Canada for sure.
I was really happy for Peyton Krebs. He's been working hard, and he's been a bit of an unsung hero before on Team Canada up until this point. He's been overshadowed by Cousins, by Byram, by Drysdale, by Field and others. But I felt like he got rewarded tonight, and that's when you look at like the Canada has like that's what's so scary about Canada up front is they got 4 lines that can roll them. Like they've got 4 lines with first round talent on them, and that's what makes them so good. Especially and then the mobility on the defense. But like I said, I really liked. To get back to on point, I was just really happy to see Peyton Krebs get rewarded. He's someone that's I see him as he's going to end up being a very good second line player in the NHL, but he's going to be one of those guys that you win with going forward. He gets it, and he's going to push and create offense for Vegas's second line in 2-3 years.
Yeah, talking about Krebs, he definitely deserved that one. It seems like he was a bit snake bitten there throughout the tournament, but yeah, what a goal! First of all, in front of the net, in between the legs, backhanded, and it finds a way back in the net, which was kind of cool to watch. But I want to focus on Dylan Cousins. I thought that. Kev is right. I think he will have captaincy. I don't know if it will be a C because you'll have Jack Eichel there, but he definitely has leadership qualities. And talk about a player that you win with, and one that he will do everything he can to make sure that he is successful. Look at that last goal. He outmuscled 3 Finnish players off the puck to get that final goal to solidify Canada winning today. And I being a Leafs fan, knowing that we're going to be seeing him for the next decade, it's going to suck. But having competitiveness, whenever you play hockey, that's what you want to see. You want to see that drive, that determination, and Dylan Cousins has that. Yeah, I agree. And I love the effort from Peyton Krebs, and it was well deserved as well. So I'm not dismissing that, but those were the 2 guys that really drove the play for the most part. What's that beep?
I do not know.
Is there a beep?
Nope.
But I think one thing that I mentioned it before. Who's going to explode? Is this the countdown to 2020 where we're all going to die?
Are we all going to die?
Sorry, that was me. That was on my part.
Oh,
yeah. Gord kept on moving my power cord, and so it kept on saying that it was charging. My apologies.
Okay. Hi, Gord.
Get better, Gord.
Yeah, right.
But I mentioned this earlier. I think one thing that we all talk about the Krebs cousins, the forecheck, but the one thing I don't think is getting enough credit, at least in terms of this game, was how well the Canada's blue line played in terms of being able to take away the time and space on any sort of like breakout or rush from Finland. And the fact that you have Byram and Drysdale, let alone Korzak stepping up, he's a lot more mobile than I thought he was. I just was really impressed with how well they took away Finland's time and space up on the transition, which is why they were able to hold Finland to one shot for as long as they did.
Yeah, the defensive cues from Canada were phenomenal. How aggressive they were. I loved Bowen Byram today. I thought that he played probably is one of his best games that he's played in just shutting them down. And I was very impressed by that as well. So, props to Devin Levi too. I mean, he didn't really get tested too much, but when he did, he shut the door. And being a goalie and being in one of those games where you're not taking any rubber from the opposition, it's hard to stay in it. So I want to give props to Devin Levi for being able to keep that focus. And that other goal, the one goal that they got, like I said before, was it was deflected in off of the Canadian defense there. So I wouldn't put that on him at all.
To me, Bowen Byram is in a league of his own. Like it seems to me like if we were having NHL right now, Bowen Byram would clearly be in it. I mean, this is again, there was another play similar to what happened against Switzerland. He was moving on the right, and a defense forward was on the back. I mean, there was a couple of nice passes that he made as well. So, I think Bowen Byram has been outstanding. And I think Ottawa is going to have a debate on their hands for the next few years, Drysdale or Sanderson. I'm not saying they picked the wrong guy, but I think that there's going to be some consternation around that, because I think I really have liked Jamie Drysdale throughout. And I haven't minded Sanderson, but maybe, watching this with Canadian eyes, I've been really impressed with Jamie Drysdale.
Yeah, I was surprised when they went Sanderson over Drysdale, and more because I think it would have been really nice to have that balance on that blue line going forwards. Drysdale's a right shot, Chabot's a left shot. Like, having that balance, and you could have the option to play them both on the same line or split them up. Now you have to wonder. I have to figure out if one of Chabot or Sanderson can play their offside if they want to play them together. But I think they're both going to be very, very good defensemen in the NHL when they get there. But I really like Drysdale, and I really like how he's developing too. I think we're seeing a little bit more of a physical side from him that I don't think we didn't see last year, and I don't think we were expecting from him as much as he is. He's not going to be a physical player once he gets to NHL as much as he is now, but being able to stand up and be a little more physical is going to really help him in the long run.
Yeah, Anaheim has a really good player in Drysdale. Yes, he won't be as physical as he is now, but showing that he is being physical now is showing his toughness, and having that toughness within the Western Conference or the Pacific Division is going to be massive for him. So, I think as far as Ottawa goes, you could have possibly gone with Drysdale, but you still have a great player with Sanderson. He's going to be an NHL defenseman, and I find that Chabot and Sanderson have similar qualities too. So, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. It's just right now, Drysdale is definitely just a hair above where Sanderson is.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and there's a lot of talk about LA and how many prospects they have and the quality of prospects they have in this tournament. Anaheim's in a better situation than LA is going forwards. And you know why? It's Jamie Drysdale. They've got Trevor Zegras, who is, I think, has a higher upside than Alex Turcotte offensively. When in terms of being able to drive the play, create play, make his line mates better, and then you got Jamie Drysdale like on the blue line, and LA, for as good as the forward prospects they've got Alex Turcotte, they've got Quinton Byfield, but you look at what's on that blue line, the best player they've got is maybe Brock Faber coming up. And I'm not saying he's a bad defenseman or a bad prospect, but he's no Jamie Drysdale. And the way I look at how you build a team is you want to be able to have strong player. You want to be able to have a minute munching, play driving defenseman. They've got that coming up in Jamie Drysdale. You want to be able to have a playmaking, play driving center to build your offense around up front. They've got that in Trevor Zegras. So I in my opinion, I would take Anaheim over LA going forwards.
Now, and just as a little asterisk with that is that when we're talking about these prospects, they still have to prove themselves in the NHL. We've had tons of players that have not been able to make that step from junior to the NHL, and they've done really well in this tournament in years past, but they haven't been able to show themselves and prove themselves that they are NHL players. So obviously we love the potential of these players, but just keep that in mind when if there's players that don't work out who are playing amazing in this tournament, is that this is their ceiling, and there's nothing wrong with that. And take a bit of a tangent off, just saying that it's unfortunate that there's no fans in the stands for their peak moment in their hockey career, but that's kind of just a sidebar from them trying to make the NHL and trying to make a name for themselves.
I'm not disputing the talent of Trevor Zegras at all, because it is definitely there. But I also still want to see him. I want to see what comes out of this medal round for him. To me, that part of that answer to me is going to come down to between Byfield and Zegras and who is the better of the two. But I want to see a little bit more from Trevor Zegras in higher. Like, I'm not criticizing him, but I do want to see him in a higher level of competition before I can say Anaheim is on the way. It looks good, but I do want to see more. And maybe that's fair for us to say of Jamie Drysdale as well, going forward. But that's what I want to see. I see your point, but
we saw Drysdale step up and be an absolute force last year.
Yeah,
right. And I agree with you, Kev, in terms of where they're at with Zegras as well. I want to see him if he is as good as a lot of people think he is. And the other thing is you can't take too much. You can't really take this tournament as like the bulk of how you evaluate a player too.
No.
Yeah, but I do want to see Zegras step up. If he's as good as everyone says he is, he should be able to step up and play, be a force tonight versus Sweden. But no, I just I look at it. For me, it's about building a team, right? You can have as many offensive, good offensive prospects as you want, but if you don't have the defense, like, you're not gonna go far. And that's why I'm like, every time everyone's like, oh my god, look at all how many prospects LA has, and I'm like, okay, you got two really good ones in Turcotte and Byfield in this tournament. They've got Helgrands and Brock Faber on the blue line, but I think those guys they haven't proven to me that they're as good as you would want to be able to build a defense around. Because Drew Doughty he's not going to play forever, and by the time Byfield, Turcotte, Madden, and the others are all going to be ready to push for playoff spots and compete. Doughty's going to be on the back end of it, like the last couple of years of his career, and then he's going to be slowing down, and he's going to be pulling the Chara. And I look at that and then compare that to what Anaheim has with Drysdale coming up. And then you look at Ottawa too. They've got Tim Stützle, who talk about a kid like taking the bull by the horns and showing everyone how good he is. He's done that as well. And then they've got Jake Sanderson. They've got Thomas Chabot, who's still a young defenseman. They've got the pieces in place.
Brady Tkachuk.
I'm still pardon? And Brady Tkachuk. Yeah. The B stands for better.
Let's not get into that.
Well, I'm going to invite Haley Salvian on the show to explaining why Matthew's better. But anyway.
You look at that and you're just like, I know. That's my only quibble. Could Brock Faber and Hellgrans really step up and become that? Sure, they've got the potential, but they haven't shown that yet, and they need to. And they haven't even taken that step before they get to the NHL too. So I don't know. I just felt like going off on a bit of a bold statement on this episode with that.
Just this episode, I feel like you have a lot of bold statements there, Sean, that don't quite make sense, but that's okay. We'll save that for later. I do want to transition, though, to Kevin kind of made a good point where he wants to see players step up in the more important games. I want to see Canada. I was excited for this game because I thought that the Finland crew would be able to step up and give Canada a good run for their money. But I did not see that, so I want to see Canada play against Russia. I want to see Canada play against US, against Sweden. Though those are the top tier teams that really should test Canada. And in the past couple of days here, we were talking about how I was talking about how I was nervous that Canada was not going to be able to step up to Finland's game. And they showed that this is the most complete game that they've been able to play. But once again, I feel like the Finns did not come out and play at all. They didn't. And this is not the Finnish team that I watched play throughout the entire tournament as of this far. So I'm good on Canada, undefeated, going in out of the round robin, but there's still a lot of work to do here. And once again, it's up to the coaching staff to make sure that their heads stay even, they stay level, and they're able to just grind away and do the little things right. Because if you do the little things right, you will be successful. But even this next game, because they're playing Czech Republic, right?
Yes. Yeah. So let me just quickly interrupt you. Shout out to Mackenzie for this comment, who says Canada defeats Finland. I put the Czechoslovakia because I was back in the 80s and the 90s. I was in a time warp, a la like a multiverse. So I did change that. So thanks, Mackenzie, for fixing that for me. But yes, Canada plays the Czech Republic. The 80s called and they wanted their comment back. So.
So yeah, they'll be playing the Czech Republic, and that I still don't that's not going to be a good enough challenge for Canada. So yeah, good on them. Let's take the next step. Let's take it game by game. But I still think they're Devin Levi needs to be tested more. Needs to make sure they just need to make sure that they're able to step up to the challenge when when the opportunity presents itself.
And that's one of my concerns is, and I don't know how how they drew these groups together.
It's based off of last year's results.
Yeah.
So because Canada won and they beat Russia in the final, they get split up. And then it was Finland and the US in the bronze medal match, I believe. And so they got split up, or Sweden or whatever. And then in that way, so that it's just based off of that.
Yeah, because I think what is concerning me is Russia, Sweden, who had an incredible game yesterday, without a doubt. That was a lot of fun to watch.
I've missed games like that so much. That was
right.
so
good. It was so good. Russia, U.S. even had a great game. Sweden, U.S. should have a pretty good game tonight. They're all battle tested.
Mm-hmm.
They're all, and Canada isn't. And that is my big concern is you haven't, like, you go back a couple years ago when the Flames lost to Colorado. I'm just going to use that as an example. They didn't really have any adversity that they went through that year, right? And even Tampa Bay didn't have a lot of adversity. And I do think adversity creates opportunities to find ways to win. And Canada hasn't had that. And that is a bit of a concern for me.
Well, look at Tampa Bay too. Tampa Bay throughout the regular season, they ran through it. Not last year, but the year before, and then they got and they got bounced. So the adversity needs to be there, so that when there is adversity, they're able to overcome it, and it's not a big shock to the system, right? Sorry, Sean, I cut you off there.
I totally agree with Kevin in that aspect. That's why I was really happy that they played Russia in the pre-tournament game, because they were able to get a little bit of that. But yeah, it's going to be tough once they have to ramp it up. Playing against Russia or the States specifically, who have that a couple lines and a couple players who can just take over a game and make Canada pay for a mistake here or there. They could play a game like this, and it could be 4-3 for the States or Russia. That was one of my biggest concerns. Like, they dominated this game, and this game should have been 6-7-1, 6-7-0. The way they dominated this game, it should have and could have been that way. But they were the thing with Canada is, and I've throughout all the round robin, they really haven't had any, like, has there been a highlight reel goal? Has there been someone who's taken it and really, like, scored like a highlight reel goal? I think the closest was a couple of them in that 16-2 win versus Germany, but that's versus Germany, a completely a short bench German team who, man, they made us at quarterfinals, and that's amazing for them. But when they were against Canada, they were playing against the juggernaut, and they were playing with with one leg. So, that's my that's my biggest worry is I don't know if they run into adversity and they get down a couple goals. I don't know. I have yet to see someone really take the bull by the horns and do anything. They haven't needed to. So that's, I guess, a good thing. But
today hit 2 posts and a crossbar.
Yeah.
I mean, the highlight goal that I was remembering that off the top of my head, other than the 16-2 game, was the empty net goal. That would be like, and that's not like super highlight, but the effort of getting that goal would probably be highlight material, but that would be the closest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And just touching on McMichael's side, I thought he had a great game. Unfortunate he hit 3 posts or 2 posts in a bar, but I think the Capitals have a really good player there, and Ray Ferraro touched on it that this isn't even him at his best, and it's kind of scary to think about that possibility of him stepping up, and he could be one of those game breakers if it came down to Canada needing a goal or needing a spark. And I could see McMichael, I could see Dylan Cousins, I could see Tomasino do that as well with his limited ice time. But I mean, that's all hypothetical. We haven't seen any of that yet. So yeah, that's as well as they have done, it is concerning.
Fair. And also, we do have a comment. We have a question, but the other thing other adversity part that fascinates me is, what if Dylan Levi allows a bad goal?
Devin.
Devin Levi. Sorry, I was Dylan Cousins. Dylan is making a comment. That's why.
Yeah, but I gotta say, Kev, that's the second time you've done this in the past 3 podcasts. Just saying.
I'm sorry about that. But what if he allows a bad goal?
That's the thing is like if they go, it's gonna. That's where we're really gonna see where this team's at.
Okay. So the question
if it even gets there.
From Dylan was Canada's D better this year or with 2005 with McDavid?
2015.
2015. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with my eyes? 2015.
I think it's this year, honestly. Like you look at that 2015 roster, I pulled it up. Joe Hicketts, Dylan Hetherington, Madison Bowie, Samuel Moran, Shea Theodore, Josh Morrissey, and Darnell Nurse. I
good top 4 there.
That top 3 is really good.
4.
Who would be your top 4? The Samuel Moran?
No, Bowie.
Eh.
God.
He was good. He was good in the junior, but like he hasn't.
That's what he's talking about. The junior. God,
but to be honest, I really like Drysdale. I really like Byram. I really like Braden Schneider. I think those 3 are like the top 2 for sure are better than that list.
Yeah,
great question. Thanks, Dylan.
It's a very good question, though.
Thank you. My one final thing I wanted to chat a little bit quickly about is there were some people talking about this in Flames Twitter. Connor Zary did not see a lot of ice. Were you worried about that? Was that a big deal to you? We'll start with Devin on that.
I'm not worried about it. I just think that it's just circumstantial. He hasn't had this is his first ice time. These first 4 games, his first ice time since last year when everything got shut down for the pandemic. So I'm not concerned. Flames fans, it looks like he will be an NHL player for the Calgary Flames. The development will be there. It's just circumstantial. He's a great 2-way player. So no real cause for concern. Going forward, I mean, it sucks that he's not getting played that much, but other players are playing better than him, and that's why his ice time is being cut right now.
And I think he specifically the role for him was penalty kill, and there was only one power play today too. So
and they were rotating him and Jack Quinn along that line with Byfield and Pelche. And I think Jack Quinn just had a better game. I think it's as simple as that. When they played him last game versus why am I drawing a blank here?
Switzerland.
They rotated through pretty evenly, and just because they both were playing really well, and I think just Jack Quinn got his feet underneath him in this game a little bit quicker, and they kept with it. So it is what it is. But he signed his ELC today, so congrats to Connor Zary, and Flames fans, you should be excited because he's gonna come into camp and he's gonna push for a spot, at least to start. Maybe not on the roster, but I think he might be on the taxi squad at least to start the season, depending on what the WHL looks like.
I could see that for sure. But I do want to bring up the other Flames prospect, Jacob Pelche. I thought he had a great game today. And I just feel like he has a higher ceiling and is way better than Puck Colson. I feel like he can outplay anybody, and he has more grit and determination. And higher in skill, easily. You know, Are you
trolling there, Devin?
No. No.
Did someone dare you to do that?
Maybe.
Maybe.
No, but okay.
He did have a good game today, though.
Yes, he had a great game today. I was really impressed with him. Too bad he couldn't get that goal, but Holloway obviously was there and deflected off of him and in. But as far as Flames prospects to be excited about, Jacob Pelche, definitely up there. And like I said, I feel like he and Tkachuk be on the same line. They're cut from the same cloth. They're pests, but they're defensively sound, and they have the offensive skill to to score and make a difference in a game. So we'd be very happy and excited for him.
Anything else on this game?
No, but can I go on a bit of a rant here?
No, you've had your turn.
What is it?
Oh, it's about there's been so much talk about fixing this tournament, and it's absolute crap. Like, you look at just because we've had a year where we've had multiple 10 double-digit scoring and everything doesn't mean that the tournament's broken. You go back to what the last few years, and you maybe get one game with double-digit goals for a team, and it's just I hate seeing that, because you look at Germany. Look how proud they were to make the quarterfinals, and this tournament's about developing players and showcasing what the future looks like. Did Ansi Kopitar ever play in the World Juniors? Like,
I want to show this tweet. I hope. I don't think you'll be able to see it, unfortunately, but Ken Campbell tweeted out, sorry to interrupt, the Austrians went 0-4 routes. This is part of some of the tweets. I'm not sure if this is specifically what we're talking about, but this is what I saw. The Austrians went 0-4, were outscored 29-1, outshot by exactly 200 shots in 4 games, but they got to swim in the hotel pool and play mini sticks in the hallway, which I've repeatedly been told are super important factors in playing in a world championship. That was just one of the tweets about tournament need.
All right, that's just pathetic. Like, I'm sorry, this is a development tournament. You want to be able to make this game that we love as worldwide as possible, and then you're saying no, you can't come play in the top division because it ruins my enjoyment of the game. No, I'm sorry. This is a development tournament, and we got Marco Rossi. We got to play in this tournament. With that, if we were on lower, he wouldn't be able to. And he's a top end player, and he showed it too. Despite being on a team that wasn't nearly as good as some of the other teams, he still was able to show it. Look at Germany. Like, they've got Stützle and Peterka, and they were able to make it to the quarterfinals. Switzerland was on a down year. They're usually a little bit better, but just go back instead of going knee-jerk reaction and just going, oh my God, we've had 3 blowouts where the team scored 10 goals, therefore the tournament's broken. Go back and look at the history. Go back and look at how there's been it's not nearly as bad throughout the years. It's just, I don't know. I really want people to understand that this is to stop being so knee-jerk reaction on this. I looked at it earlier.
There's an interesting tweet from Lauren Kelly. I don't know if you saw that.
But you look at here, I'll pull up the tweet that I put out. And here you go. You look at the double-digit scores and biggest margins of victories for the past tournaments. And 2021's been an absolute gong show, right? We got 3 double-digit scores for a team, and 14, and biggest margin of victory is 14. But you look at the majority of the past little bit. You had 2019 where you had 2 and 14, but the rest are 0, 1, and 6, 8, and 9. It's going to happen in these tournaments. It's just based off of how hockey is. But because hockey's so focused on the big 6, right? But you still want to be able to grow it. Germany should be a team that should be pushing into that top 6, in my opinion. Switzerland should be able to push into it, but we need to make sure that they get the opportunities to play against the top end talent so they can learn. And if you're going to say let's stop that and kick it out because it's not good entertainment for me, I'm sorry. I think that's wrong.
If you're an Ottawa Senators fan, you certainly would have been coming out of this excited about what you're getting in Tim Stützle. And if Germany is not in a tournament, you're not, for a Senator fan, you're not excited about that. And I think that this year has been an anomaly for so many. I think there's so many other factors playing in this in this situation that it's not that this would not be the year that I would be using as an evidence to change a tournament in any way, shape, or form.
That is right. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. It's just what's happening now. People yelling at the sky because it's raining or snowing or whatever. It's complete and utter nonsense. I'm sorry. I don't have much time for that type of thought process. So we got to grow the game. We got to make sure that we're getting that kids are getting the chance to play in these games, to play in these environments. And Sean's right. It's a developmental tournament. So suck it up. These are kids. Fuck, shit happens.
Look at the women's international tournament, because it's always been Canada and the US. And now, because we've increased and because we've allowed other countries to develop players, we're starting to see other countries get involved. This is exactly the same thing. This is how you grow the game. Sorry, Ken Campbell, you're going to be pissed off at my comment, but I actually would love to see a year where China and Japan come into the World Juniors. That would be great growth of the game. That would be a lot of fun.
Give it a couple of years, because once the Olympics go there, then it could spark a bunch of kids to want to go play, and that's why Gary Bettman is so hell bent on getting over there to China, to Japan, to the Asian countries, and grow the game more, because everyone deserves to play. Everyone deserves to play.
Everyone deserves to play, and everyone deserves to be able to gun for a big thing. Sometimes these tournaments are where the ceiling is for these players, and they get to have how many goalies have had absolutely just have been pelted by shots by Canada and held them to 5, and that's the highlight of their career. Like, we should be celebrating this instead of trying to quote unquote fix it because it's not as entertaining as we want it to be. The other thing is going back to the German team, like Buffalo again, JJ Peterka. He's someone that they should be very excited about. He looks like a player as well.
Yeah. Oh, and the other side of this is too, and I think this is something that I always appreciate Tyler reminding us when COVID first started, and this is a good point. This is going to be the highest level of hockey. There's going to be players on Canada. This is the highest level of hockey that some of these players are ever going to play in their lives. Mm-hmm. Let them have their moment. Let them enjoy it. Yeah, you know what? It sucked for Austria. I don't think that they wanted to lose that way, but you know what? That's the opportunity, right?
And because of COVID-19, as Dylan says, like, it's a little bit different this year. We've got you've got Team Canada and the States specifically are a little more jacked up, a little more loaded this year than normal. Dylan, if this was a regular season, Dylan Cousins is not on this team. He's playing in Buffalo. Bowen Byron's playing in Colorado. Yeah. Those two alone make a huge difference.
Kirby Doc mean
100% Kirby Doc would not be here, but we can't say that Dylan Cousins and Bowen Byron will be on NHL clubs. That's up to them within this next little bit here to make the push for the team. But as of right now, yes, it looks like that they would, but we don't know that for sure.
True, but that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, though, is like that there would have been players that aren't on these teams, and I just want to see more. Like, I want to see hockey become more of a global sport as much as possible, and we've seen World Cup games in soccer blowouts. We've seen in other sport, basketball. How many times did the States just destroy people in basketball? And now it's kind of actually a global sport. Like, you need that. And with it being an aging out tournament too, like, you're going to have good years and bad years with teams and countries.
Yeah. One other comment here. Andrew says, how about that POW picture?
Thank you, Andrew. I'm glad you're watching, bud.
Right. Yeah, we thank you for that.
Hold on, I just want to since Andrew is listening, Raymond is going to be a great player for Detroit. Just saying.
Yeah, Lucas Raymond's going to be great.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. A couple of quick things we'll get to. Maybe we'll start with Connor Zary here quickly. He did sign his entry-level deal. Any other thoughts on that, Evan?
I mean, it was inevitable. It was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. I feel like teams really wanted to see how good their draft picks this year were before they started throwing money at them, especially with the cap where it's at, where the economy where it's at. So it was inevitable. I just thought it was hilarious when Flames Nation said their headline for one of their blogs was don't expect Connor Zary to get his ELC done before the end or until next year, and then 6 hours later it was signed. That was kind of funny, but yeah, it was inevitable. So nothing to kind of overlook or overthink there.
It made sense to me. Sorry, Kev, for interrupting you there. It made sense to me because I think it's with the WHL season being up in the air, not knowing when it's starting. It makes sense for them to sign him, bring him into camp, see what he get him in there and test him with the players in camp. And like I said, I think there's a good chance that he may be a taxi squad guy until they know what the WHL looks like.
Yeah. We'll dig into that. Speaking of a situation, Gord agrees. Speaking of a situation that everyone thought was going hairy, same tweets Pierre LeBrun tweeted out that Pierre-Luc Dubois and Columbus were at odds, and then all of a sudden he signed. So,
well, it sounds like he's still not quite happy there in Columbus. I think he wants a little bit more extra rope that Torts is not willing to give him. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a trade here with Dubois in the next couple of years. But they got him signed for 2 years at a decent rate.
A decent rate. You know what you're saying wrong there.
There may have been a chat between Devin and Sean about the length of this contract.
It's not about the length; it's about the money. $5 million a year for the next two. That's a steal of a deal for the number one center, for the guy that they rely on everywhere, and it's a great fucking deal. Period. And it's kind of funny, Kev, going back to what you're saying, how there was a bit of debate whether or not he wanted to trade or not. It's very similar to Brendan Gallagher in Montreal. They had those rumors that Brendan Gallagher was worried about his time in Montreal and how he wasn't getting a contract extension. And then within the next couple of days, Marc Bergevin decided to pull the trigger and sign him to another, I believe it was 6 years. So it's funny how social media works, and who knows if it's the agents kind of pushing that line. But with it being only 2 years at $5 million, it does scream to me that a trade is inevitable, or that it will be talked about because of where the economy is at, where the markets are at. It's $5 million is an easy trade, especially for that player. God, that's a great deal for Columbus.
He's making 3.5 this year and 6.5 next. The way I look at it is it is the economy. It is the flat cap, and going 2 years at $5 million makes a lot of sense to me. I know Devin. I get where Devin's saying where what Dubois brings and the two-way play, and he scored 27 goals 2 years ago. I get it, but I just think with the flat cap, I just don't. when you compare him to what Cirelli got, and
he's not Cirelli though. You can't compare the two players. The only way you can compare the two is because they're similar of age. They're not the same fucking player though.
Cirelli is a Selke. He was 4th in Selke voting this year, Dev. Like, I think that, and you look at one of the biggest things that one common occurrence for Stanley Cup winning teams is they have a top end Selke contender leading their team, and yes. So just because Cirelli is on the team with Stamkos and Point and Kucherov doesn't mean that he's not as good as Dubois.
That is complete and utter nonsense, man. That is nonsense. Dubois is a number 1 center, if not a number 2. Cirelli, okay, he's a 2-3. But as of right now, as of right this second, I would take Dubois over Cirelli as a number 1 center, period.
But if you can let me finish my thought, is that Cirelli got 4.8 for 3, and I think that was a little bit less than I would have paid him. And this is Dubois' deal is a little bit less than I would have paid him as well. But
that's the first time I've heard you say that.
It's still within the range that makes sense to me. It's a 2-year deal, and sorry, Kev, let me just finish this off. It's a 2-year deal where. Yeah, he's getting the 6.5 that in the second year that he's going to and the other thing, 6.5 is where is what the qualifying offer is going to be based off of going into the next negotiation, wherever that negotiation happens to be, whether it's with Columbus or wherever he gets traded to. So he's going to get the qualifying offer is going to be 6.5, not 5. 6.5. So it makes sense on both ends. And
if you were signing him long term, what would you sign him for? Let's say 5 years. What would you sign him to?
Oh, he'd be up in that 6.5 range for sure.
I put him at 7.
And for me, $500,000 is not a big deal in terms of this type of argument. So
tell that to
and the fact that that's what his qualifying offer is going to be to when he gets that long-term deal, because whether it's Columbus or whether he gets traded and that next team signs him, he's going to get a long-term offer, and it's going to be at least 6.5, probably up by the 7 million that you're talking about. Yeah. But at the 2-year range, I think 5 as a cap hit makes sense, especially when you look at the money breakdown where they're not giving as much cash out this year and then giving him a shit ton next year.
I will say this. We talked about a couple weeks, a while ago now, we talked about an RFA that I would consider making an offer sheet. He would have been one. He is an RFA in 2 years. I would seriously consider offer sheeting this guy. If he's not traded, I would totally consider an offer sheet for this guy.
Absolutely.
And as much as everybody talks about the Ulevi, Kachuk, Puljujärvi drafting in that draft year in 2016, this guy has been sensational, and it was the right move by the Blue Jackets to take him at 3. That's all.
That draft, like going back to knowing what we know now about that draft too, because the Canucks wanted Dubois, and they also were in on Subban at that point, and if Dubois was available, they were either going to draft him or trade the pick for PK Subban, and I'm just. Ugh.
Oh, can you imagine Canucks Twitter if PK Subban was acquired for this pick?
Amazing.
I mean, it's a completely different like timeline, and you don't know how Subban would have fared. But if he's where he's at now, like you talk about Ulevi versus Kachuk now, and then be Subban versus Kachuk,
and then Dubois to add.
Yeah, and Dubois, yeah.
The other thing, Zdeno Chara signed with the Washington Capitals, 1 year, $745,000 after 14 years with the Boston Bruins. We're going to see starting on January 13th, Zdeno Chara wearing a Washington Capitals uniform. that is going to be weird.
They already tried it with Lundqvist.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Dev. Was that where you were going to?
No, you always talk. You always talk. Oh yeah. You done? God. It will be weird, as Kevin said. I think it's a great signing for the Capitals.
Absolutely.
Having that veteran presence, him and Ovi together in the same locker room, I'm sure that'd be a sight to see. But it was up to the Bruins. The Bruins said no for getting him to come back, and I think that's, as a Bruins fan, as it is a Zdeno Chara fan, that's a bit heartbreaking for Cam Neely to say sorry, see you later. I think that we would have loved to see him retire as a Boston Bruin. Who knows how many years he has left? He's 43, and I respect the shit out of that guy. He will play until he physically can't anymore. Mm-hmm. He will be very similar to Chris Chelios, playing at 47 years old in the AHL. I could definitely see him doing that. Not in the A, but I could see him going back home to the Czech Republic and playing somewhere over in Europe when his time with the NHL is done. But he will play here until he dies, until he is not getting offers anymore.
I see Chara going back over to Europe and playing for a year or two if he doesn't get an NHL deal after this year. But I just happened to pull up Washington's cap friendly and just to see what their blue line looked like, and they're one of the teams that is just absolutely loaded with right side defensemen, like Carlson, Orlov, Nick Jensen, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, and Justin Schultz are all listed as right side defensemen.
I mean, you have right side defensemen, but there's half of them that can't play that well.
Yeah, and then their left side, then their left side is Brendan Dillon, Jonas Sigenthaler, and now Zdeno Chara. So it's kind of interesting that like everyone talks about right side defensemen, and somehow you look at you can make an argument that Washington has 5 NHL right side defensemen.
Yeah, that's it's certainly interesting. Yeah, and I like the signing. I think he's got at least 2 years in Washington. I think he may come back for next year if Henrik Lundqvist can play again. Try to get Henrik Lundqvist his cup. I can see that too. And Chara and Ovi in the same room. I think that's going to just be fascinating to see. And Crosby and Chara in this Pittsburgh-Washington rivalry. That'll be fascinating as well. It'll be fun.
I think it was Steve Dangle who put out the tweet. Congrats on Washington for now being absolved of all cross-checking penalties or something like that.
A little bit of leeway there for sure.
Any other topics we need to cover?
No, just we're finally getting rid of fucking 2020.
Yes. Yeah. That is the final thing to say. Is 2020 sucked. Let's just be honest. It's over. At least you in Alberta have 4 more hours of 2020. I have 5 more hours of 2020. So,
but only was it an hour and 20 minutes left to get your liquor?
That's true. Only an hour and 20 more minutes. Chris, can you get to BC here? Chris and Laney Boggs calling you out. I need liquor. You need to drive to BC here. Get me liquor. You've got an hour and 20 minutes.
Aren't you in Burnaby? Whereabouts are you?
Burnaby, yeah. So, Devin, I'm not sure if you're aware of, but liquor sales are stopped as of 8 o'clock here.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. They announced that yesterday. Bit of a misstep of communication.
Well, I talk about, people friggin' booking it to the BC or with BCL or what?
Yeah, I would imagine. I haven't been there, but I imagine that it would have been
BC Liquor. Yeah, God.
But on a serious note, yes, 2020 sucked, but we at the Hockey Podcast have made great strides. Thank you. We had comments today. We're starting to get comments. We went to a live format. We've done a bunch of recaps. Sean, Devin, thank you. I got to say personally, thank you guys for your efforts coming on all the time. I've totally appreciated it. I know you two don't always agree, which makes it fun. I know that Devin thinks that Sean is wrong all the time, and Sean thinks that Devin is wrong all the time. But I think that people think they love each other. Heidi, with all her efforts in the back, coming on. Heidi should be on more. Hope she heard that. We miss you, Heidi. Chris driving around. Miss you. Tyler, Noble Nation. Noble Nation's Mittens
Nation.
Mittens Nation. Is that the hashtag now? We go Mittens Nation?
Yeah, that's perfect. He's driving around too.
Is he driving around?
Oh, yeah. He's clearing snow.
Oh, that's right. Yes. But him and yeah. So thank you to that. Thank you for all of our, some of our guests. Bryce Chevalier came on. He was great. Derek Newmeyer, the Fireside Podcast, doing the Flames recaps. Chris Isha came on.
Thanks to Pat Steinberg.
Pat Steinberg came on. Rick Dollywall came on. Kevin Woodley came on. Trying to remember.
Man, I feel like those are like the pin, like those are like fucking high end people. And
Tori Peterson.
Tori Peterson came on.
If anybody who's listening, Sean, if you haven't listened to those podcasts, go back and on Spotify and check them out because they're fucking good. They're solid.
Yeah.
We had Cody Curran come on.
That's right. Yeah, we had our first NHLer.
The first NHLer come on.
It's been a year. Like we've had it for all the spurts and stops and everything. We've been able to keep going and find ways to keep us entertained and hopefully keep you entertained and hopefully grow the audience a little bit more. We're really trying to find a way to reach out and get more people watching, listening, and engaged because we enjoy doing this as much as Devin and I. It comes across as Devin and I are like yelling at each other. If you watch the video, you can see both of us are smiling because it brings us back. Like I think this is a good time to bring up the story about Devin's fiance. The first time she met our dad, she ended up stuck in a hockey yelling debate at the Pig and Duke. between Devin and I because and then the first time I met Kaylin, Devin's fiance, was because they were I was watching a World Junior game at the Pig and Duke, right. And Devin was trying to ignore me because he didn't hear my voice and Kaylin did, and Devin thought I was another girl yelling at him.
I was on January 2nd watching Canada versus somebody 3 years ago. And yeah, it was hockey's all around us. We live it, we breathe it. And we really do appreciate everyone who's listening, everybody who's supported us along the way so far. This is only the beginning. And we are really, really excited for the years to come and to grow our brand. And if you know somebody who would really enjoy listening to us, share it, like us, subscribe, all that bullshit. But I think one thing we do want our viewers to do is be more engaged with us, talk to us, comment halfway through like Dylan did today and like Andrew did. We love that stuff. That live interaction. That'd be great. If there's anything that you can do for us, that's what you can do.
Let us know what you want us to talk about because I as a Canucks fan, Devin as a Flames and Leafs fan, Kevin as a Canucks and a Flames fan, Heidi in the background as a Flames fan. We all have our little niches, but we all just love talking hockey. And I'll talk Flames if that's what everyone wants us to talk about. I'll talk Leafs if that's what everyone wants to talk about. I will.
It's not going to be a right conversation, but he will talk about
it. But I will, because I love talking hockey. So please let us know what you want us to talk about going forwards. If there's anything, and we'll do it. Like if there's guests you want us to get on, I know I want to get Kevin Woodley back on to talk more goaltending because I learned so much from him. I want to get Steinberg on because he's a hockey nerd. I want to have Isha back on because he plays into Devin's and my shit disturbing yelling at people talk about. We've got we'll talk about how bad McDavid is at that defense too, if that's what everyone wants. But like we're open. We want more people to watch and enjoy us as much as we enjoy being able to talk hockey with as a bunch of friends.
We also had Graham Moseman on. We had Jack from Oilers YYC on. Hannah led us in the conversation about Brendan Leipzig. Chris's wife, Chris and Hannah, got married. That was pretty significant. Sean and Heidi have been living together for 1 year. That was also, there's been a lot of significant stuff that happened.
Devin got engaged last year in November, was it?
Yeah, last November. Yeah.
Okay.
Ask my fiance if she has the ring.
Oh. Yeah, but
another story.
Yeah. But we are, I mean, we've got, I know that we're working to get on. I can tell you we are working on season previews for all the teams. We do have the Sens out. We had the Grit 60 podcast on when the Jets were playing. We will be having the Sens Hour podcast joining us for a season. We're going to be working on season previews for the upcoming season. They will be joining us. We're going to do a season preview with the Flames, the Canucks. We're going to dive into the Oilers, Leafs, Jets, and Habs. We got things like that going on. We've got a couple comments here as well.
Oh yeah, we got Chris's dad telling us thanks for making his son feel included. Yes, Chris is. We give Chris a lot of shit, but he's definitely one of the crew here.
Yeah,
and we miss him. He has not been on in a long time.
Yeah, we do miss Chris.
Yeah. I'm not sure how to end. Yeah. Come back, Chris. Come back. So thanks everyone. How do we follow everyone?
I am Beardy Canuck 03.
I am Gordhouse09 on Twitter.
Hi to Mazeballs, HEI. Hi to Mazeballs. Schneids, SCHNEIDZ. Tyler T Noble. I am KVOLE. Podcast_hockey on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe.
Oh, hold on, Kevin.
Yeah.
Hey, Noble Mittens. This beer's for you.
That beer's for you. They're Noble Pilsner. We'll leave it there. Happy New Year. Keep it up. Keep it up. Well, see you next year. Bye.
Cheers.